discussion? All those in favor? Aye, abstain. State your name. Sorry. It's kind of fine, it's not worth it, I'm sorry. All right, audience of citizens. Chairman recognizes Mr. Postemski.
Evening.
State your name.
And the Columbia Fire Department. Want to bring something to the Board of Selectmen. You know, that's been a hot topic for a long time. Been working with Judy and some other members. A member from the VFW again, just about seeing what we can do, seeing what's out there, just to the things you hear around, obviously, that we're 100% volunteer. And our goal, obviously, as tax. We know that the paid staff does come in there, it is going to be a big hit on the town. That we do everything that we can to keep that, kind of push that off. One of the things that we talked about is trying to get new members, and then a lot of the things this day and age, unfortunately, the time, people don't want to give up their time, or they want to know what's in it for them, kind of thing. The doing it out of the goodness of the heart is unfortunately not the driving factor anymore, and we kind of bounced around some ideas, and one of them that we wanted to bring to the attention that we could see if the board would just consider and talk about is about active members, or however we deem the criteria, about maybe some incentives about like a dump pass and beach pass for members, just to as a token to say thank you and thank you for giving up your time. Maybe it's that extra incentive to get someone to join and help out. But we wanted to bring it to your guys' attention, and no decision obviously now, but let you guys talk about it and consider it as an option.
Okay, I appreciate your comments. I always appreciate the fire department. You know, coming up with new ideas to try and grab attention and everything. We don't usually do this during audience of citizens, but I'm gonna ask you. How do we know who's in good standing and who's not, and, you know?
So that would be something obviously to discuss and see how we wanna decide the criteria. We have the tax abatement right now, which is established, that's a parameter we could always follow. We have active status where members need to complete so much calls, drills, training and meetings to stay active. We can follow that standard, or we can come up with our own. Obviously, we don't wanna just hand it out to anyone. It's not gonna be a freebie in that aspect, but we want people to still kind of earn it and think it'd be well deserved. And if it gives someone, their family, a chance to be at the beach or something local, and they can get breakaway to go in the fall, again, it helps the town and the citizens out. So that was our basis from, again, like we've been involved in some of the stuff. We've been trying to get ideas from anywhere and everywhere, just to try to see what we can do again. But that was
Okay,
the idea.
again, I appreciate it. All right, anything you guys can come up with, there's no, you know, I'm not saying we're gonna do it all. But it does behoove everybody in the town, you know, I think everybody, the month of their birthday ought to be on the fire department, once every month, we'd have people out there all the time, wouldn't we?
So I think if I did one rough number, that every member that we have that's on the roster qualified and took it, it was, I think for both of those was like $5,000 for the year.
Okay.
And again, for numbers, we're up to about $1 million for 2 paid personnel for the year.
Yeah, but that $5,000 does not represent what it costs the town. Some people don't go to the beach now, so it's not in lieu of their money that they don't spend. It would be, if everybody used it and benefited from it, would be $5,000. Okay, it's not to say that's what it costs, loss of income to the town, so. We'll put that on unless, you know,
Another meeting 17.
we'll put it on for the 17th, okay? Come up with some,
Okay,
you know,
so
comments
criteria.
and stuff, pluses and
Yeah,
a lot of pluses. I don't know, you know, somebody will come up with a minus or two, but we'll talk about it, all right? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hey, you know what, also, while you're here. We need to get a rundown on the July 4th parade from the Lions and the fire department, or we just do that off on the side? We'll just probably get in touch with them and let's have a meeting. And we can put it out. Anybody on the board is welcome to go. Okay, that's gonna be real fast.
I know.
Real fast. So, okay, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Audience, citizens, anybody, anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, that's all we have. Okay. Old business. Memorandum of agreement with the Department of Homeland Security Region 4. We were not squared away, right?
We did, what I uncovered was. They have not come out with the 2025 grant. So they're a year behind, so right now we're authorizing the Regional Emergency Planning Team, REPT, Region 4 grant. And that'll be for 2024 memorandum of understanding. And really, the dollar amount is for $346,203 for the regional allocation, of which usually you have myself go and represent Columbia, and they decide how to spend that money in the whole region. There's a subcommittee that makes a recommendation of that.
Okay. All right, I move to approve the memorandum of agreement from the Department of Management of Homeland Security Region 4 Homeland Security Grant Program. Any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, opposed? No new business? Don't be late. What is this amendment? Okay. Okay, Shirley Shepherd and Todd Shepherd, they want to repair an existing dock. They're going to remove and replace the dock boards only, and they're gonna use composite material. Okay, now. So they remove and replace, this is not within the time limit that we allow for construction, but because it's above the water line. And they're to capture nails and everything else to the best of their ability, I know sometimes one gets away from us. We're allowing this to do it, that's your recommendation, correct? 5-pack?
Very
not
little.
5-pack.
Very
Tell me.
little going. Yes, on the site visit, we were told and discovered that Mr. Shepherd is blind. So this does really require, because of the splintering and the rotting, a replacement of the top afterwards. We
Okay.
highly recommend it.
And. Okay. So, I move to. Approve the application to repair a dock at 90 Route 87 Columbia for Shirley Shepherd and Todd Shepherd. With LMAX administrative approval. Any discussion? Everybody good, all those in favor? Opposed? None, thank you. Okay, here we are. Back to the regulations of the regarding the launch of watercraft onto Columbia Lake. Want to tell me how we are?
Yeah, so, been going back and forth, working with the subcommittee and, the Melmac and with our town attorneys. The main thing that was modified, if you go to on the regulation page, which is the first set. Regulations that are pursuant to the ordinance, so they are the regulations behind the ordinance. You go to the last page under enforcement. We're adding this paragraph that states, to the extent not in conflict with any other town ordinances or applicable laws, for the purpose of enforcement of section 90-31, a Marine Patrol officer as a courtesy may attempt to alert an observed violator in any portion of Article 6 by any reasonable means in a reasonably timely fashion in order to note the violation observed. At such time, the Marine Patrol officer may provide a warning or may indicate that the matter may be referred to a citation officer in accordance with section 190-31. Whether or not the Marine Patrol officer takes the courtesy action described in the last sentence, the Marine Patrol officer shall make a record of the violation and may refer the matter to the citation officer for a possible further action. And also there's an added sentence, nothing in this regulation infringes upon the or abrogates the rights of any authorized law or regulatory code enforcement officer from enforcing any other federal, state, or local laws, codes, or regulations. So that means in the reverse, the state police can still act and do as they see fit based upon state statutes.
So we had a meeting with our resident trooper, and I am delighted that he has already been in touch with Marine Patrol, had a meeting with them. He has stated to them with our blessing, my blessing, that he is to be called. Marine Patrol can use a microphone or something to get someone to be, listen, you're doing something that is not safe. We're asking you, whether you know it or not, please refrain from doing that, obey the rules of the lake, and it's all good. If they do not obey and continue, a call will be put into our resident trooper who will meet them at the dock. And then he will either get on the Marine Patrol boat, or he will wait till they moor up, or go to their house when they see where they're moored up. And talk to them, and he is willing to write a citation based on the word of Marine Patrol. So we got that out of the way. Right? He did say, for safety reasons, they could throw on a blue light to get the notice, as just to pull them over to make a verbal safety and regulation statement. It's not bringing them under, retention or, anything like that. It's just for safety reasons. And I was very pleased that our resident trooper, Trooper Gary Allen, said, I will be happy to get the phone calls and do what you need me to do, because I believe that the Marine Patrol know their jobs out there. They know they're not out there to flag people down and harass them. It's for safety and to enjoy the lake for all people. And of course, for the invasive species, to make sure that people are checking their crap before they put it on the lake. And if they don't, then they're gonna be talked to. All right? So, anybody have any more discussion on the regulations regarding this? Yes.
In the descriptions of cleaning the boat, dryer wash, it says with a saltwater solution, 100% vinegar or 10%, there is no such thing as 100% vinegar. So you can buy 4%, 5% and 30% vinegar. If they want straight, they would have to, that's wrong.
Okay. We'll fix that. We'll look at.
5% is what's used for pickling, 30% is the cleaning vinegar. So,
So my kids And now have to clean all the fruit that comes from the supermarket.
Baking soda was the best.
Yeah, please, we're talking about vinegar. Yeah. Hold on now. What percentage is that?
Baking soda.
What percentage is the vinegar I use?
The
To wash
regular
fruit?
stuff is 5%, 4 or 5.
Okay. Yes, sir.
That 100%
Please
is
state your name for the record. Sorry.
from deep. It's the deep document that says 100%. I believe it's probably
The
the
5%.
30% that's not.
It's probably the 5%, that's the typical distilled vinegar that you buy.
So I would just clarify with deep.
Yeah.
Just, I can go, if it's
It
fine.
probably means straight vinegar and 10% bleach, that ratio,
That's what.
but we'll figure it out. Okay.
Okay.
You take on deep and see how it goes. Let us know and the end of our.
Just leave it like
Anybody
that.
else while we're still yet to get this through? Okay, so I think we can correct that and I don't think it'll hold up.
No, I'll figure it out.
If, so that's good. We turn to the next section, blue, current, or green, I don't know what color we got. This is the LMAC final for the ordinance portion of our lake and beach use, the launch of watercraft into Columbia Lake. So,
So the ordinance is 190-24 through 190-31.
so the big area was,
It's still open. Jump to the page 9. Under penalties. In general, the penalties were that fine in amount of $250 for the first event of non-compliance with this article, for each separate offense under this article and applicable regulation. But then down option 1, it gets into more detail of launching a non-motorized vehicle watercraft, whether that first offense has no fine and just the removal of the watercraft from the lake, or has a fine up to the $250. I think some thought has to be. How to handle. Non-motorized vessels getting watercraft getting on the lake. From other sources other than the gate. And we are planning a whole education process for exactly that purpose. By creating a Save the Lake sticker, and you educate yourself as to the dangers of putting a kayak full of Coventry water into the lake that has,
like that,
could be
not
any,
necessarily.
not only Coventry.
Just some-
It could be Connecticut River, it's full of hydrilla.
Right.
And just any bilge pump, any storage area of a non-motorized or motorized that has another body of water in it could contaminate our lake.
So, in saying that, and I think that we're going to do our very best, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, our very best to educate. And I know the concern was of the 164, with the people who are in trust and those who rent and people who walk by and just kind of take a dip, whoever it is. We are going to have educational pieces. We're already looking into what we talked about. 2 per household, 1 on the dock, 1 on the back door as they go out of the yard. For people, houses that have lake rights. Okay, so it's not like. And certainly in other educational material, it's not like we are just gonna go, okay, we're looking for people who are not doing the right thing. We're not. And we're also asking them, hey, listen. you can't just put that on the lake, there's a protocol for what you have to do. But if somebody then decides not to adhere to that, that's when this fine comes into place. Anybody else on this? Gonna come up at the meeting, $250, I mean, is that too stiff or what? Not enough?
Well, but it says up to, right? And
Well, the first one, if you look on the penalties, the first one says a fine an amount of $250. And then one option is no fine, just remove from the lake, or another option is up to $250. Those are really your three things to consider.
You could give a warning before you give the fine. You know,
Who's gonna keep track of the warnings?
Well, we do written warnings, Henry.
give a warning.
Yes, sir.
The way the ordinance is written, there does allow discretion, so there can be warnings first. And then the question is, whether you just require removal or whether there's also the possibility for a fine.
Right, I think anybody who launches something out there and goes, oh, I forgot, I'm sorry, or I didn't know, I didn't look at the plaque or whatever, and they go back over and they take it off the water and stuff like that, I think that. That's not somebody who's giving us a hard time. The question is, how do we know that they then wash it? I mean, I guess we go back to the trust issue, so I'm not even. It's just, I'm fine with this. Anybody else?
yeah, I mean, I would favor the option too, because I think, regardless of where someone launches it on motorized boat, private property, now, I think they. Depending on circumstances, like you said, discretion, I think,
Yeah,
a citation
Could be a
should be
warning.
on table, right?
you know,
I agree.
yeah.
So I'm sorry, would you like option two?
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. So. Okay, so is that the only thing we're discussing and the rest is to go to set a meeting?
We set a public hearing for both the regulations and the ordinances to listen to what the town thought, and then adjourn to the board of selectmen meeting to decide to either vote or make modifications. Depending on what we've heard.
So there were a couple written comments in here, is that something that
Yeah,
you wanna talk about, or something that we'll just wait?
Those were sent in to me. Concerning horsepower, and I think my opinion, that's a much bigger discussion. But one will have to have at some point. But I think that might have to be a discussion we have this year and then decide what we want to do next year. Because we have to determine, we can't be changing horsepower this moment. While Marine Patrol's trying to figure out what boats can get on the lake and what boats can't.
The other thing about that is. When we have discussions here, when LMAC or, CLA bring any information. It's always. Their facts. And. I get it, I mean. Anything out there, there's always probably three sides to what's factual. This side has dug up all this, yep. This side, well, wait a minute now, the four-stroke this and the two, whatever, more pollutants and it's easier this, they have their facts here. And it's gonna be us to kind of weed through it all and make the correct decision, that's in the middle somewhere, I think. That's a big, long discussion, I'm not even at all close to wanting to hear about it, to be honest with you. Because what we've heard from Mary, for the most part, is a lot of stuff, and then. At one meeting, we hear in a letter that says, wait, that's not exactly the truth or the factual stuff.
Mhm.
I'm no engineer, so, and right now I wanna get this through. Or putting a lead bolt or craft on the wall. Let's get this through before we tackle. A year of the horsepower stuff. Right now, everybody is supposed to be in line with the horsepower. We'll start it up again, maybe in the fall. Everybody good? So, I make a motion to move this to. We can read this thing, yeah, the whole thing, yes, sir.
You'll have to sign it.
Okay, the Board of Selectmen will conduct a public hearing in Yeoman's Hall, 323 Route 87, Columbia, Connecticut. Is this in a motion form? Should I say, I make a motion to set? Sure.
Yes.
So I make a motion to set a public hearing in Yeoman's Hall. 323 Route 87, Columbia, Connecticut, on Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. Does that work for the board? Before we throw it out there. Oh, yeah.
I'll be here.
That's the next meeting for the 17th.
Right, 17th. Will we here? Excellent, at least three of us. Okay. To receive public comment on proposed revisions to the following section of chapter 190 of the Code of Town Ordinances, Lake and Beach Use. Article 6, launch of watercraft onto Columbia Lake, sections 190-24 to 190-31. Also, to receive public comment on proposed regulations enacted pursuant to ordinance section 190-30 regarding launch of watercraft onto Columbia Lake. Complete text of the proposed revised ordinances and proposed regulations are on file in the office of the town clerk, 323 Route 87, Columbia, Connecticut, and on the town of Columbia's website, www.columbiact.org.
.gov, we'll make that fresh.
.gov.
We just changed the .gov up yesterday.
Oh,
Just to be more secure in our.
They're not gonna remember my motion, Mark.
This is a real.
All those in favor, saying here,
Aye.
opposed? Thank you.
Henry has a comment.
Henry Beck, 41 Sleepy Hollow Road, talking from the perspective of, council and, LMAC. One of the things that the board needs to consider is potentially the effective date, of this, if you take action on it after the 17th. The ordinance, changes some provisions that are in existing ordinances that will not have been changed by this ordinance because the existing ordinance changes need to go through DEP before they're approved. And so there's a timing issue of coordination, and council did recommend a interim statement to be put into regulations and the ordinance if you declare an immediate effective date. But if you were to declare an effective date later in the year or at the start of the next season, in that period of time, we would have the ability to have the deep ordinances, which are the operational ordinances, don't do figure eights, don't over weights, etc. To be synchronized with these changes. And we would also have the education completed and the STIR program ready to go and so forth. So I think you have to decide what the effective date is. When you take action.
What do you propose?
LMAC has not reviewed that, so I can speak for myself.
How about yourself, Henry?
I would think if you did January 1, It would allow time to deal with deep and get the existing ordinances in sync with this one that deals just with, launching. And it would allow time for the education, for the time to order the hound to order the stickers that are gonna be needed for the non-motorized watercraft. So that it rolls out without confusion, hopefully with minimal confusion, anyway, next season, as opposed to trying to hodgepodge it together in August.
Thank you. We did put that in case you go sooner, that'll cover us, that this new ordinance will override.
Yes, man.
The old one.
Are you raising for you or for Buffy?
Well, we're both probably gonna say something.
Oh, that's fine. So Mary, please.
Hi, 34 Beverly Road, Mary. We have two motions at LNAT at our special meeting. We moved to move the ordinance to you and ask you for your insights and to move it on to the public meeting. When it came to timing, there was a second motion and LMAC did agree. And I believe the vote was 11-2 or 10-2, that we wanted to move this forward as soon as possible. We understand that there were differing opinions of one or two people. However, LMAC's motion was to move this forward as quickly as we could.
Okay, so I'm gonna put the question out there because, gee, now we have two different sides, and we have to fix the middle. Let me just say that. So here's the deal. This is not changing ordinances about the horsepower. It's not changing ordinances about doing figure eights or anything really to do with deep. It's about protecting the lake and everybody being educated and doing the right thing. We're not looking to slam people with big fines. We're looking to educate even people who come on the water, who may rent the place or are in a trust that only get there once or twice a year. I do think it can be implemented. We may not have the stickers right away. We may not have, but we certainly can start educating by talking. And this is. Well, and we meet on this, say us, for the sake of the lake, so many times. And the paper comes out in the Carbon Current on the front page so many times about hydro and whatever it is. I don't even, we need to get the education out there, in my opinion, sooner than later. And January 1st is nothing, it does. Let's start now, okay? So honestly, we're not changing all the other stuff, Henry. We can continue to work on that. Right now, we're taking steps. We're taking steps, and it's for the good of everybody who wants to dip a toe in that lake. I don't think anybody should scream and holler about washing crap before they put it in the lake, so they can enjoy it for many, many years. That's my opinion. Yes,
LMAC agreed with you and the vote says that. Thank you.
And also, Henry, I have in here what you gave me.
Right.
Which was to the extent the enforcement of or penalties associated with section 190-24 through 190-31 of this code of regulations adopted thereunder conflicts with any of those sections, conflicting with any other provisions of chapters 190, the provisions of this article shall prevail until such time as the ordinances are revised to eliminate any such inconsistencies. So that will say what we're adopting will override inconsistencies, I hope.
okay. I'm just one voice. Anybody else?
I agree.
I'm thinking we should go forward. It's a process to try to understand what people are thinking. Anthony, questions?
I'm just concerned about the requirement of having deep approval. What the consequences are if you don't have deep approval, and then you intend to enforce it. And how that plays out in worst case scenario. Somebody's charged or cited, I should probably say rather than charged.
So, I'm gonna address, give you my opinion on that too. Sometimes government gets in the way of what truly needs to be done. Okay, I'm just saying, and this is one of the times where, if Deep wants to say, hey, why would you be putting things in place that keep your lake clean, where you're not allowed? That's a fight I wanna take on, to be honest with you, but again, that's me. This is, the horsepower is gonna be a different fight. Deep may wanna have more input on that and everything else. I don't think this. But again, one, let me get to the board, please, Henry. Go ahead, Chris.
So would the severability clause address that, right? If there's something that's not legally enforceable because deep hasn't blessed it or something like that, it's not what the severability would.
Yes, sir.
First of all, the launch ordinance does not need deep approval. It's been prepared under an environmental protection ordinance that allows the town to take action on its own. So where deep has to weigh in is where we go back and change the existing ordinances to make them mesh with the new ordinance. So we could put this into effect and ride on the language that Mark read that said to the extent that the existing stuff is in conflict with this control. And we will then change the existing ones to be synchronized and run that through the deep process.
Thank you.
So have they gotten the material yet?
They have not gotten the material on the launch ordinances because they don't need it. It's not required for them to review it. If it's passed by the selectmen, there will be a discussion with Deep to say, this is what's been done. To deal with launch controls and inspections and so forth. And we're going to synchronize it with the existing statutes and that you have to look at. And we will get those to you in due time, you know.
Okay, thank you. Yes,
Just one quick comment, Mark Walter, myself and Henry had 2 conferences recorded with Deep. Deep came back and told us that, which is why this town ordinance came, under environmental and under the fact that Deep cannot, what's the word? Allow or do it, have any impact on something going over town property. And our launch is town property. Deep told us.
so, after the meeting, at the town meeting and stuff, public hearing, then it'll come back to the board and we'll have to, once again decide if we move forward with this and then we'll come up with an effective thing, okay? But we'll move it to a later date.
We need to do so this is the public hearing, so this is town.
Next, 6:30, 2 weeks from now, it's
Yeah.
public hearing. In your case, it's well.
Thank you. Appointments and resignations. Nancy Hammerstone has resigned as an alternate on the zoning board of appeals. But wait. I move to approve the appointment of Nancy Hammerstrom as an alternate on planning and zoning commission. Stepping it up. Good to see. We need to discuss that at all? Discussion? Great. All those in favor? Aye. You. Appointment of Mike Carroll to 5-pack. Mike Carroll, are you here?
Yes, sir.
State your name,
Michael Carroll.
okay? And you live where, sir?
I live at 122C Route 87.
Okay. So you wanna be on 5-pack?
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
So I've been in Columbia for going on 3 years, and my wife and myself and our dog Stormy travel all over New England. We run a nonprofit organization called Rediscovering History Inc.
We take care of gravestones all over New England, do educational classes with students, in Madison. Last week, we just had almost 200 fifth graders out at a cemetery with us and teaching them about cleaning techniques and why history is important. And so one of our biggest things is, no matter where we go in New England, we go to major cities, small communities, and we come back here and it's home. And even though we've only been here 3 years, it feels like we've been here a lot longer. It's our heaven right here. I personally traveled and lived in almost every state minus Alaska and Hawaii. Hopefully soon I get to go to them. But no matter what, I keep coming back to Connecticut. I was raised in Stafford Springs all the way down through Norwich, everything in between Wellington. But again, coming here, it just feels like home. And Dave Holcroft is my landlord. I'm sure most of you folks know him, he's an amazing guy. And so I've talked to Dave, I'm now on the RTC. I've been on the RTC for a little bit, talked to Justin, who is the chairman of the RTC, and put my name out there. And it wasn't to, just be a member. I wanted to, hopefully be able to build myself, help the town in the process, but be able to take steps to advance myself politically in town, doing as much as I possibly can, and learning while still doing the job as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for him?
Do you have any background in finance?
What's that?
Do you have any background in finance?
Yeah,
You run a
so-
business, so.
In my organization, I actually run the day-to-day operations and in addition to doing the actual work out in the field. I partnered myself with America 250, numerous state and federal organizations. We get grants occasionally. Right now, of course, it's kind of down on that end, but I do all the financials for our organization. So everything that I do, she helps out, yeah. But everything that we do, has to be, to a certain letter of the law, we have to be careful how we do it, and we're recognized both through Connecticut and our.
And he's owned his own business.
Yes. So.
Mike, sit down. Do you want to say?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, I move to approve the appointment of Mike Carroll to 5PAD. All those in favor? Aye, opposed? Thank you. So, can't do this.
No, just hold on.
Kristen,
You can't do mine because my name's messed up.
we're gonna call the DOD.
It's correct there.
You talk about home, there's somebody else who thinks this is the most perfect place and this is gonna just make her tickle pink. I move to appoint Vera Engler as an alternate to the zoning board of appeals. She's back. Back involved. I'll come up against her. All those in favor? Aye, opposed, thank you. Town administrator's report.
Good news I got from the state today, with the budget, and I didn't get the final, if it actually passed. I think it did. Not sure. But from CCM. Well, it was supposed to pass today. From CCM. The numbers we got back for our, revenues through the state, through adult education, ECS, LoSA, Pequot. Are, a few of them have gone up, so we got an extra 76,000 in ECS, the equalized cost sharing for the school. And we got an extra 86,000 total, plus the 76,000 for ECS, so we're up $163,154. Thanks. In revenue. So that'll help.
A little bit.
And then, Beverly and I spent chunk of today with Mike Bailo, our bond counsel, and working on policies and procedures concerning compliance with federal securities laws relating to disclosures from the town of Columbia. Make sure as we get closer to this bond issuance, we'll have everything in order and not be in any conflict with arbitrage or rebate or all the things, meaning because this bond issue will happen pretty quick, the money won't be sitting too long and we will not benefit from over investing our bond issuance. It'll go right to the HVAC project, so that won't be an issue now. And, Bevan and I will be on a call tomorrow at 2 to hear the thoughts of Standard and Poor's as to what rating they're going to give us. According to our municipal advisor, Bill Lindsay, he feels we'll come in either at a AA or AA plus. He said towns our size and the smallness of our town, even though our finances are amazing, they never give AAA to a town as small as Columbia. So, and there's a few things we can work on if we have another bond issue to help us get closer to a AA plus if we actually end up with AA. So I'll find out all that tomorrow. That's all I have, Steve.
Great. The next thing is correspondence CCM powering Connecticut's municipal future, Titan CCM bring innovation and savings to Columbia and beyond. And we just keep working with Titan. So last 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Mark and I, Chris Ram, who is president of Titan or involved in Titan, and his new associate who is dealing with municipalities and wanting to grow that. Well, we talked to Titan Energy 3 months ago probably, and I called them in and I said, listen, I know what solar does for my own personal residence, and I know what solar does for the school. And there's areas in the town and stuff that I think we can expand the solar. So they brought in the new associate, and we gave them a list of areas they may wanna look at and everything, and what they're trying to do is the new HVAC system is going to be powered by something, it might as well, if we can, bring in solar to do it.
Yeah.
And the chapel, we won't put solar on the chapel, it's a historic building, but we may be able to piggyback off of other solar to provide power in the winter, so we don't pay exorbitant fees to Eversource on usage spikes for the chapel, so they can continue to have book sales. And the library, there's the ability to make a network of power recipient buildings from one source now. So we're looking at different areas to be able to do that. And they'd like to come up with as many as they can, so it saves the town money. It is not environmentally harmful. We're just looking. So we can see what we can do to keep our Eversource bills as low as possible and provide solar energy where we can use it. So I'm happy that they loved what we talked about. And they said, you know what, and that's why we brought the new associate in. She wants to go to municipalities and say, listen, we wanna do this. We just find out, explore, and this is what we're doing in Columbia, how it's affecting them and saving them money and providing resource of energy, and so hopefully it works out. They may find no other place to put it, but I'm sure they'll find some places. Yeah,
I think do cardboardy things on parking lots.
we're already talking,
We're looking at
we're looking at everything.
especially public works, we have to get equipment. Without snow landing on it, we don't have enough building space, so a carport might be perfect.
Yeah, we're looking at everything. And the good thing is they're using us, so they're looking very hard to fulfill our needs, so they can go, look what we did to Columbia. It's
We've
great.
been doing a lot of really great projects that have helped from this, so we're gonna keep working.
So that's that, there's no No
For
transfers?
transfers, no refunds, we got a lot of transfers next.
There is refunds.
Oh,
I move to approve refunds as presented totaling $2,067.81. It seems pretty cut and dry. In discussion, all those in favor? And I move to approve the payment of bills as presented totaling $93,308.65, consisting of 24-25 emergency, 24-25 regular, credit card and paychecks. Mark, while I'm looking at this, can you tell me, I see that, they got their Anika.
She still works for us, doing training for the lifeguard.
Okay, she got her course. How we
Yes.
getting, did we fill our needs for lifeguard this year?
Yes, we just started having trouble getting them to give us all their paperwork, so we can actually pay them. The new generation doesn't worry about those minor details.
Put it in the thing, Danny.
Driver's licenses,
Any discussion? All those in favor of paying the bills? Opposed?
and there's a second one because we had some emergency checks.
Yes.
I move to approve the payment of other bills as presented totaling $27,892.17, consisting of 25-25 regular. What? 24-25?
24-25.
I correct, 2024, 2025 regular and credit.
It might only be 25, because it's.
Mark,
Okay.
it's one fiscal year.
Okay.
Are we getting better signage down at the transfer station?
We will, yes.
I've heard we will for a year now. Please. I go down there and I see people throwing the incorrect things, and I don't wanna be the bad guy all the time. But I look and the signage is not good. Can we vote? Oh, all those in favor?
I,
Hi.
Thank you.
Is that the old sign?
No, I never read it. That's it, audience or citizen? No signing, I don't wanna pay attention to the audience, get them out there. Nothing, audience or citizen, anybody have their hand up? No? Oh, jeez.
No.
Great second one. Yeah, board member comments, anybody?
I got two.
Oh, look at you.
Look at me. So first, do we have any data on the EV charging units?
We do get.
And that would be, it would be nice to just be
Add that to
updated
my
on that
report once more.
one day, once in a while.
Right.
And then, so, you know, the whole phosphorus and the lake thing. Surprisingly, Roundup, glyphosate can add phosphorus. So I didn't know that. I just found that out. And so it might be part of your educational thing that, you know, people should think before they could use boiling water if they want to kill disease or vinegar or something.
20% of them.
Yeah.
Works very well.
And just, I was surprised. It's pretty significant. I'm thinking of all the driveways and all the gravel and people are using Roundup and it's flowing right into the water. So just one for you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Shockingly, I have a comment. So, I would like to thank, first of all, Bill O'Brien. Please state your name. For attending with me, but also, Tom McGrath and Ann Dyer, who were with us Saturday on a presentation by Trust for Public Lands and where they are on the acquisition of the Girl Scout camp, Camp Laurel in Lebanon. Went up for sale. You know, the last 2 years ago, and they've been working, and it was a good presentation. I remember going there with my daughter years ago, father-daughter camp out weekend, and Trust for Public Lands has they have an option on it, and looks like they're gonna be able to purchase it. They're a little short on their fundraising though, so. Why not? Absolutely. So, it's worth the applause, well done. So, they do need money, checks. Just saying. I said I would help them out by telling you all. But, it was a nice presentation, and it's a great piece of property over there, hopefully it all works out. So, thank you, Ann, for asking me to attend. I didn't know about it, just if it's worthwhile cause and somebody enlightens me, I will do my very best to be there, so thank you. Do we need executive session?
Yeah, just real quick update. 2 seconds.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to suspend the selectmen meeting and go into executive session where I would ask everybody to say goodnight or wait. We're doing
And
it.
it's 7:57.
So at 8:03, we will close an executive session, resume the board of selectmen meeting with no action taken. I make a motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Name.
Thank you. Have a good one.